Hi, I'm back with Uthando Nes'thembu. It's been a couple of weeks. I've been watching along with everyone, but it's only just in the most recent episodes where I had something more to say. I'm Khuputso, by the way. Welcome to Bioskop and Champagne, a place where we watch movies, series, and especially trash reality television. In this video, we will be discussing Uthando Nes'thembu. If you aren't familiar with the premise of the show, Uthando Nes'thembu is a South African reality show that follows the lives of Musa Mseleku and his 5 wives and children. It has been on our screens for the last 8 years. I will be talking about the highlights of episodes 8 to 14, or is it 15? I'm not even sure anymore. Within those episodes, we did see a lot happen. What fascinated me is when Mseleku was telling his wife MaYeni while they were at dinner in episode 8, his process of choosing his 5th wife. He said, and I quote, "I have learned that marrying for beauty and not being able to trace how the person was raised, who they are, and how they were brought up is dangerous." As we know, MaKhumalo is in her 20s.
In my 20s, and I don't think my age is an issue. And I don't think people should make it an issue.
And she did grow up in the same neighborhood as the Mselekus. And for him to contextualize how he did choose MaKhumalo in the first place reminds me a lot of a scene from Bridgerton season 1.
You've always amused me, Miss Bridgerton, ever since I was a schoolboy and you were...
All but 5?
And for me, Mseleku's reasoning for going after and ultimately marrying someone who is his daughter's age is alarming. In my mind, I was asking whether he was any better than all of those older men who marry child brides. Because yes, she's in her 20s, she's over 18, she's technically an adult by law, but psychologically speaking, her brain has not matured enough. Regardless if MaCele has expressly said she is old enough, just because she has childbearing hips, they forget to consider the fact that psychologically, mentally, her frontal lobe is not mature enough. Her frontal lobe is indicating that she is not old enough. And for Mseleku to choose someone who grew up in front of his eyes to marry, ooh, it's not a good look. I don't even want to say the word, but to me, it's giving that kind of energy. It's quite sad that culture is sort of condoning this type of behavior. On top of that, when the kids meet her and then the boys come in and they meet her, they seem very impressed, and even in the diaries, they even shake their father's hand. And they actually praise him for the fact that their father could bag a child. To bag someone so young, they praise him for that, which is very telling of why men do the things they do, and that is to impress other men, whether it is men in their family, whether it is men they do not know. It's about coming back and saying, "Oh my God, did you see? I bagged a 20-something-year-old as a 50-year-old man." And that's seriously alarming. That is problematic. Another major highlight for me was the connection between women blame and patriarchy, and the narrative that his wives are the reason behind his stay in the hospital. It's not only mentioned by MaCele, it is also mentioned by Mseleku and by Mpumeleo. When MaCele holds a meeting with all of the ladies, only 3 of them show up and MaYeni is unable to attend. What she does say in the meeting is that Mseleku's hypertension was caused by the stress of them not being united as sister wives. She even mentions how MaYeni left and went home, and how other wives have also threatened to leave. Mpumelelo even says that if his father doesn't get better because certain people refuse to give him what he wants, he would have to bear the brunt of those consequences. And he doesn't want to be blamed for all of this. So in a sense, he blames his mothers for all of the misfortune that has befallen his father. The theme of blaming women for everything unfortunate that befalls the family unit is rampant in episodes 8 to 15. Religion and patriarchy form the foundation for rationalizing the act of blaming women for men's sins and/or their downfall. Eve in the book of Genesis is blamed for releasing all manner of suffering into the world because she broke the rules and disobeyed. If disobedience brings such negative repercussions, then it is all the woman's fault. MaYeni disobeyed and left the homestead, and as a result, the kids' home life has been upended. Instead of asking why she packed her bags and left a toxic situation, the narrative is that it is all her fault for being a horrible mother and leaving her children destitute, even though she left them with their father. She is literally blamed by Mseleku and her son for breaking the rules, for no longer enduring hardship and pain at the hands of her husband and leaving the homestead for her parents' home. And none of that blame blows back on Mseleku because culture and patriarchy have conditioned women to accept the blame and carry its burden. And it has also protected Mseleku from ever being held accountable and make sure to frame Mseleku, the man of the house, as the victim. In this sense, women have internalized the process of immediately arriving to a position of self-blame without prompting. And we see this especially after Mseleku is hospitalized. MaCele holds a meeting to declare that it is entirely their fault as sister wives that Mseleku had a stroke in the first place. And MaCele's self-blaming is a very natural step that she takes. And she's not only just conditioned to arrive at a position of self-blaming, but she's also conditioned to arrive at a position of blaming other women as well. She points a finger at MaNgwabe and blames her for setting the boundary to say that she would leave Mseleku if he took another wife after her. MaCele also then points a finger at MaYeni and reminds her about her leaving the homestead and that she wasn't supposed to do that, and good wives stay and don't leave. We also then see MaKhumalo arrive at a position of self-blame in her diaries. The only wife that goes against her conditioning and insists she isn't to blame for Mseleku's condition is MaYeni. She boldly tells her that the only person at fault for Mseleku's hypertension and stress is himself, that he reached such a high state of happiness due to him finally acquiring his elusive fifth wife, that he had not one but two strokes. Unfortunate, yes, but not her fault. She refutes MaCele's accusations while also refusing to arrive at a position of self-blame, as she is expected to do as a woman and as a long-suffering wife.
Iyamangaza ukuthi sengaze kube nomuntu ongaze aguliswe into yakhe. Yabo le ndoda yabo izingeze kumina izofuna umneso.
MaYeni's refusal is a clear indication that she has been using the tools she has learned from therapy to reverse the extensive conditioning the patriarchy instilled in her from birth. And for her to stand up for herself and say, this is not my fault, this is Mseleku's fault, he's the one who pursued all of his wives, he's the one who pursued all of this stress. And her saying that out loud is something that rubs MaCele the wrong way. MaCele says that there will be unity finally on the basis that other sister wives now have a common quote-unquote enemy, this being MaYeni. At the crux of it all, MaCele feels that MaYeni isn't following the script of accepting the blame like a good wife should, and as such must be ostracized and vilified by all of the other sister wives. On top of refusing to accept the blame like a good wife, MaYeni also initially refused to pay Mselegu's hospital bill. And side note, it is wild to me that a man with so many dependents cancelled his medical aid because, and I quote, nobody in the family got sick. It's a really stupid reason to do that. But I digress. And apart from blaming his wives for what happens to Mseleku himself, Mseleku also blames his first two wives for MaKhumalo currently not having any biological children. Culturally, polygamy is built upon the assumption that it will always be the woman who suffers infertility and never the man. And since offspring is the goal of polygamy, this gives men the license to marry other wives who are capable of doing what the one before physically could not. This is to conceive. And it is interesting that Mseleku married MaNgwabe. It is interesting that Mseleku married MaNgwabe, a woman who had already birthed a child and proved her fertility to Mseleku on a subconscious level after marrying MaKhumalo, who at that point hadn't had any children. In my opinion, it's very possible that Mseleku was so traumatized about MaKhumalo's fertility issues that he subconsciously chose his next wife to be someone who would definitely bear his children because the evidence of her fertility already existed. Apart from him like falling in love with MaNgwabe and them having this beautiful love story, I think her fertility was also a very big factor in him falling in love with MaNgwabe in the first place. Instead of sitting in MaKhumalo's infertility diagnosis and grieving the children they couldn't have naturally, Mseleku decides instead to blame his first wife, MaCele, and his second wife, MaYeni, for the predicament that MaKhumalo is in at the moment, for her not having children thus far. Instead of facing all of this grief like a man, he instead hides behind patriarchy's skirts, which unfortunately gives him the opportunity to compartmentalize and bottle up his feelings surrounding MaKhumalo's diagnosis. And as we know, this is a classic trait of toxic masculinity. And because Mseleku has so much unresolved resentment, sorrow, and pain just waiting to erupt as a result of avoiding finding support, going to therapy, seeing a counselor, MaCele and MaYeni are in the firing line and they are being blamed for MaKhumalo's involuntary childlessness because he, and I quote, listened to and respected other people and has lost as a result. He has lost the opportunity to plant seeds and have children with MaKhumalo when she was still a girlfriend, and more importantly, when she was still young, fertile, and valuable to the polygamy system that puts on a pedestal women who are able to bear children, because that is the whole point of polygamy, to grow the bloodline, to continue the legacy. He chooses to forget that it was tradition and not MaCele or MaYeni that stopped him from getting his then girlfriend MaKhumalo pregnant. Tradition dictated that Mseleku refrain from impregnating MaKhumalo while she was still a girlfriend. Yes, MaYeni had many an issue with MaKhumalo because of her age and because of the timelines that were overlapping when she and MaKhumalo were getting married, were getting lobolad, and them becoming sister wives. But it doesn't negate the fact that it was culture, the culture that Mseleku props up, the culture Mseleku uses as a reason to be a polygamist, and its strict rules that were the real reason why he quote unquote lost out on having biological children with MaKhumalo when she was still his girlfriend. Still on the topic of Mseleku's wives not accepting wife number 5, MaKhwela, the statement he makes regarding his wife's refusal to accept her is also telling. He says, and I quote, "The mistake my wives make is to think that they're doing me a favor by staying in the marriage. No, I also played a role by loving them and making them my responsibility," end quote. The sheer disrespect in these 2 sentences literally blew my mind, and they show how much audacity this man carries around in his pockets. These women have done Mseleku the biggest favor of his life. The favor they have done for him is priceless. They have birthed him the children he needs to keep his bloodline going for what is now 2 generations. Remember, he is a grandfather. These women have also endured traumas that only polygamy can bring because they love him. They have also stayed faithful despite him having girlfriends outside of the sanctity of his multiple marriages. They have, up until season 8, hid information that would make their husband, quote unquote, look bad, because patriarchy has made sure to them to prop him up even when he isn't a good partner. They, and most specifically MaKhumalo, have been integral to the exponential growth and success of Thanks Ma Productions and many other business ventures that we don't know about. The other sister wives' contributions may not have been as overt as MaKhumalo's, but are just as important to his business success. MaCele, MaYeni, and MaNgwabe removed all of the stresses and responsibilities of the home, that is the childcare, the housekeeping, the cooking, and everything else that is involved in the upkeep of a warm and successful home. All of the labor that is required to keep the home running smoothly was taken over by Mseleku's wives, so that all of his energy and time would be focused into his businesses. And when you have all the time in the world to do only one thing, success is inevitable. So these women have given their lives to making sure that everything around Mseleku is running so smoothly that he had the time and did not have to worry about anything else but this one thing, these business ventures. So success was inevitable for him because his wives are ×4. And for him to say that they aren't doing him the biggest favor known to man is utter bull. He lacks respect for every single woman in the nation, and especially his wives. Literally, the bar for him is in hell. He just does whatever, and his wives are a testament to that. They have explicitly said that he is someone who will do whatever he wants once he has gotten whatever he wants. Mpumelelo is also a testament to that as well, because like father, like son, as MaYeni has said before. So guys, that's the end of the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you to all of the Bioskops, the official Bioskops. If you aren't an official Bioskop yet, just hit the subscribe button, like the video if you like the video, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Mother Bioskop signing out. Toodles.